And so there we have it. Meath are All-Ireland Senior Ladies Champions. They have beaten Dublin 111 to 12 points. A huge victory for Meath and a huge victory for the Meath ladies. I mean, what a stunning victory this is for Meath. I mean, what a story, really, coming from, the Intermediate Football Championship, 2 years ago, beaten in the final intermediate level. They then go and win the All-Ireland Intermediate Championship. And then a year later, this year, they go and beat Dublin, who had won 4 All-Irelands in a row. They stopped Dublin's bid for 5 in a row. They also beat Cork, 11-time champions in the semi-finals. And they also beat Armagh. A lot of a lot of people would have had Armagh as one of the real favourites to win the All-Ireland Senior Ladies Championship this year. And long and behold, they beat them as well, stopping Amy Mackin in the process. And now they've gone and beaten Dublin. What a huge achievement for me. Their first ever All-Ireland Senior Football Ladies Championship. I mean, that is an extraordinary achievement and a wonderful story in many ways. And even as a Dublin fan, obviously I wanted to see Dublin win the All-Ireland. There's no two ways about that. But you can't take away from Meath and the achievement that they've done in this game. I mean, from start to finish, they were the better side. They came flying out of traps. And I suppose one of the worries for Dublin this year in particular, I remember watching them against Donegal and a little bit sluggish coming out of traps, in the quarterfinals, a little bit poor. I remember Donegal scored 1-2 early on and actually had a chance, and Ciara Trand ended up turning onto the bar. It could have been 2-2 after about 7 or 8 minutes. Dublin could have been beaten that day, and they managed to, they certainly had the confidence that day, and they had the experience to turn it around. In this game, they've done all right. Like, they've done well to steady the ship after the goal early on. Emma Duggan, I mean, what a finish that was. I mean, incredible stuff. I mean, I'm not too sure if she meant it, in all honesty. Maybe she was going for the point. Maybe she'll turn around and say she was going for the goal. But you can't take away from that goal. I mean, what a finish. Keeper couldn't get anywhere near it. Over the top of Ciara Trand's head. And wonderful finish there from Emma Duggan. And Meath just really did come flying out of traps. They were running at Dublin, causing all sorts of problems. The likes of Niamh O'Sullivan, Stacey Grimes as well. You had Vicky Wall, who's a tremendous footballer. I mean, what a talent she is. I mean, when she gets the ball and she's just driving at players, causing all sorts of havoc. And the only real option for Dublin the majority of the time was just to foul her, because when she was getting the ball, she was that driving force and that drive and run. And she could very well go on to win Ladies Footballer of the Year. There's no doubt about it. I mean, she's been, I think she won Intermediate Footballer of the Year last year. So what a journey it's been for her, and incredible stuff as well. Orla Lally in midfield, the heartbeat of the team at different stages as well. And it was just incredible stuff, really. Like, I don't know what the odds were for Meath coming into the All-Ireland Senior Football Ladies Championship this year. But I'm sure that, there was some long odds on them going all the way to win the All-Ireland. And, the way they've done it as well, like, it hasn't been easy for them. They've had to beat some big teams on the way, beating Armagh, getting that win as well over Cork in the semi-finals, and then going and beating the 4-in-a-row champions Dublin. And even at the end of the game as well, when you thought that, okay, because Meath had a 5 to 6 point lead going into the final 5 to 10 minutes, and you were wondering at some point, are Meath going to get a little bit nervous, because they hadn't got nervous up to that point. And it's obviously a huge achievement going on to win your county's first ever All-Ireland. And to be fair, although Dublin did kind of come back into the game, I think that was more through Dublin's quality. And Meath never really, they never lost sight of the game plan. Even at the end, Emma Duggan with that late point and fist pump and all the rest, you could tell that they were really, really well onto something. And it was brilliant stuff. It really was. Josh Clark says, not a great year for Dublin GAA. Yeah, I suppose not, mate. Maybe the highlight was the hurlers beating Galway. But even at that, it led to nothing. And unfortunately, it is what it is. I mean, winning the Leinster Championship for the men's would usually be a good achievement, but considering we're so used to winning that, I suppose it isn't. But look, listen, it's Meath's day. We can't take away from Meath in this occasion. And I suppose just looking through some of the scores for Meath on the day, Emma Duggan with 1-2, tremendous goal, like I was saying before. Stacey Grimes was fantastic as well at different stages in the game. Niamh O'Sullivan with 3 points, Emma Troy with 2 points, Bridget Lynch with 1 point as well. Incredible stuff, really. And from Dublin, like, Hannah Tyrrell was the top player for Dublin on the day, in my opinion. She kept Dublin within pace of the game. Some big points late on in the first half and in the second half as well. I thought Dublin were very impressive in that regards. Other than that, though, there was no one really else who really stood up for Dublin. Like, Sinead Ahern scored a point, probably needed a better performance from her on the day. Martha Byrne with a point. Carla Rowe was fairly quiet as well, considering she'd been one of Dublin's top players coming into this final. Kate Sullivan with a point. Lindsay Davey with a point as well. But Meath's defence was just extraordinary as well, especially in the second half. Like, to think Meath had 1-8 in the first half. They only scored 3 points in the second half, but it was their defensive work. Like, they're just such a well-coached team, always in the right place at the right time, always able to get those blocks in. You know, the likes of Shauna Ennis, Aoibhinn Cleary as well, even Mary-Kate Lynch, Emma Troy, like just being in the right position at the right times, like cutting off those lanes for the likes of Sinead Ahern or Lindsay Davey to play a pass or to go for goal. It was just brilliant. And even Emma Troy as well ended up getting on the score sheet, you know, getting forward as well. That's been something brilliant that Meath have done this year, has been able to get forward and create those extra opportunities. And it was brilliant stuff. Naija Burke, might have said your name wrong there, but the goal though, yeah, I mean, the goal was incredible, wasn't it? I mean, extraordinary stuff. And Dublin were struggling a lot from the kick out in the first half. They just couldn't, every kick out just seemed to go to a Meath player. I mean, we didn't get to see half the kickouts because a lot of the time what was happening is we were seeing the replay of a previous score, and then all of a sudden, you know, the camera would switch back and Meath would be on the attack again. So Dublin's kickouts were breaking down, and may need to go back and watch the game to really see, or see the Sunday game or something to see really what was going on there. But in the first half, there were certainly a lot of problems for Dublin's kickouts, and Meath were winning a lot of them, and they were breaking with pace and just causing all sorts of problems. Could have even had more scores as well. There was a couple of half-goal chances in the first half that you felt that Meath maybe could have got something from there. Like Dublin did have a big goal chance in the second half as well. Monica McGurk made a very good save at one stage as well. I think it was Jennifer Dunn who was running through on that particular occasion. And maybe if that goes in, it was a different game. I think that was late on in the first half. But fair play to Meath. Like, even when Dublin started to turn the screw a little bit towards the end of the second half, I thought they were just impressive at holding their calm, holding their cool, you know, sticking to the game plan, and certainly not getting worked out. And in many ways, like, it must be said, like, and even looking through Meath's kickouts, like, they won 94% of their own kickouts. Shout out to Matthew Hurley of the GAA Statsman, having a look at some of his stats on the screen. So not too sure if you're watching, but just seeing there, he says here 94% of Meath's own kickouts were won, which is quite extraordinary stuff, and that does tell you how well they were doing at winning their own kickouts. And even for Dublin, like, you know, they were certainly struggling. There's no doubt about it. Like, in the turnovers as well, extraordinary stuff. And just having a look here as well. Not too many wides as well. You know, from what I can see here, you know, 16 shots, scoring 12 of them. That tells you a lot about Meath's accuracy, and that was probably a big difference for Meath. Active says Honda Royals, yeah, fair play to Meath, huge achievement. And Gadar says Vicky Wall was class. Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, just breaking with that pace, those forward runs, and you could see at different stages as well. It took 2 or 3 Dublin women to really try and get the ball off her, and they had to resort to fouling at different stages as well. Like, you just couldn't get the ball off her. It was unbelievable, and arguably the contender for Footballer of the Year, in my opinion. I think she's been extraordinary this year. Was unbelievable last year for the intermediate side, and yeah, what a footballer, no doubt about it. Gadar says Dublin were tired. I don't really think we were tired, to be perfectly honest. Like, Dublin, you've seen in the last 5 to 10 minutes that Dublin started to come more into the game, started to kick a couple of big scores as well. Sinead Ahern, Hannah Tyrrell started having more of an influence in the game as well. But it wasn't meant to be. You know, it was too little too late. It was 2 points going down the home stretch. You were thinking, where are we going to create a goal chance, or was something going to come? I remember there was a late opportunity that we put wide as well. If that goes over, then it's a 1-point game, and we only need, you know, half a chance to draw a level. So it wasn't meant to be, and Meath were by far the better side. And look, listen, even as a Dublin man myself, you know, it's you love to see an underdog every now and again, and you love to see a fairy tale story. Not so much at the expense of your own county. I would have loved if, you know, maybe it was Mayo they beat in the final, or something like that. But yeah, full credit to Meath. And as Dubs fan says there, full credit to Meath. I thought Dublin would have won it by half time. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think they'd win it by half time. Even though Meath were leading at 5 points at half time, I did feel like Dublin's experience, like they're so used to being in this situation before. You've seen in the Donegal game, they had that experience to turn it around, to get a couple of points, to take those goal opportunities. But it was, you know, it just wasn't meant to be. Meath just were unbelievable defensively in the second half, and it wasn't so much about them going forward. Yeah, fantastic stuff there, it must be said. Meath wanted it more. Ladies, All-Ireland minor, All-Ireland now, the senior. Men will be back next year. Be a few years for the men's, I think. But yeah, I mean, it's been a great year for me. There's been no doubt about it. I mean, considering how bad last year was, obviously with that horrible defeat to Dublin, losing in the way they did, and yeah, winning the minor title. And although they lost to Dublin by 6 points in the senior Leinster semi-final, they did go out with their heads held high compared to previous years. So yeah, fair enough. Billy Flynn says this could be the beginning of a great Meath v Dublin ladies rivalry, which would be great for the ladies game. There's something special about Meath and Dublin, the best rivalry in the GAA. Yeah, and it's, at men's level, it's certainly been a rivalry that's sadly just not been there over the past 5 to 10 years, obviously, with the fact that Dublin are just streets ahead, and maybe with the fact that Dublin, kind of got beaten in the semi-finals, and Meath have a lot of great up-and-coming young players. Maybe that's a rivalry that we could see back again now over the next couple of years. But at ladies level, yeah, it'd be brilliant to see, and you could see with the fans as well, and the crowd, and the heavy challenges that were going in, a lot of animosity between the two sides. And it's interesting because these two haven't played each other that many times. So, a lot of people saying going into this game, oh, there's a huge Dublin and Meath rivalry. And yes, there is, but they also hadn't played each other that many times, over the past couple of years, because obviously Meath have been down at intermediate level. So, yeah, it could be a really big rivalry over the next 2 years, no doubt about it. Dylan Duffy says, thank you. What a win for Meath. Great to have an underdog win. Yeah, fair play. And it definitely is the year of the underdog. You had the Meath minors winning a first minor title in since 1992, 20 years or whatever. Or a little bit longer than 20 years, but 1992. And then you obviously have Sligo winning a Connacht minor title for the first time in a long time. Derry winning the delayed 2020 minor title, first time in a long time for them as well. And obviously the big one, Mayo and Tyrone next weekend. Someone's going to win an All-Ireland Senior Football Championship next weekend. Could it be Mayo? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, cheers anyone who tuned in anyway. Massive congratulations to Meath. Better side on the day, no doubt about it. They were fantastic. And I suppose from a Dublin point of view, disappointing. But look, listen, we'll be back next year.